Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: South Africa plans to lease state land to Afro-descendant farmers to redress long-standing racial imbalances. Malawi's new president, Lazarus Chakwera, vows to fulfill his campaign promises as he marks his first 100 days in office. Mali's interim president, Bandao, appoints a transition government in which members of the military occupy key posts. Our top story today: South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa on Monday announced that the government plans to lease state land to Afro-descendant farmers. The initiative is part of the country's land reforms aimed at resolving long-standing racial imbalances. President Ramaphosa, who described the move as a national priority, said that there are about 700,000 hectares of vacant land, which are expected to create jobs for the people of South Africa. According to the Land Reform Department, the plots available for a 30-year rent must be used for agricultural purposes only. The land campaign is one of President Ramaphosa's initiatives to resolve inequalities caused by decades of apartheid and colonialism, during which most of the lands were kept for the minority Caucasian population. In Eastern Africa, Malawi's new president, Lazarus Chakwera, on Monday called for more time to implement his campaign promises as he marked his first 100 days in office.
Someone asks if I have done enough. No, I will be the first one to tell you that I have not done enough, and this country has not done enough. But all of us collectively can do more than what is happening now.
100 days is not a panacea for every problem we face. That, even in political science, must be challenged. Not everything done in 100 days means it should define your presidency or your leadership for the rest of that, because you can change your course of any direction at any time.
Chakwera won Malawi's historic presidential election rerun in late June, vowing to unite the country and fight poverty. However, some critics argue that the 65-year-old leader, who vowed to tackle corruption in Malawian politics, already departed from his promises.
The president has shamefully departed from what he promised the Malawians, and Malawians should expect 5 years of party politics, battle of supremacy between the Malawi Congress Party and their political bedfellows, the UTM. President Lazarus Chakwera is showing trends of executive arrogance, is showing trends of impunity. Look at the way the cabinet is. We have got family members in the cabinet, colonels, and even relations, siblings in that cabinet.
Despite the critics, Malawi's sixth president explained that his administration's primary objective is to steady the ship before turning it around. In Ethiopia, President Sahle-Work Zewde on Monday promised to hold free, fair and credible elections within a year, following an extended term due to the coronavirus pandemic. The president made the vow during a joint session of both houses of parliament, which have exceeded their 5-year term under a state of emergency due to the COVID-19 outbreak. She indicated that the government had restructured the country's electoral board to function independently. She also acknowledged the fact that the country has been crippled with issues of instability over the years and reiterated that the government's primary objective is to ensure peace, stability and security to the people. Meanwhile, in Ethiopia, members of the country's largest ethnic group, the Oromo, on Saturday held their annual Thanksgiving festival against a backdrop of unrest and political division in the capital city, Addis Ababa.
Many people are not happy, especially like Oromo people. They are not happy with what's going on right now. So if those people are gathering together, maybe they slogan something against to the government.
2,000 suspects have recently been charged for their participation in the violent protests and interethnic clashes that took place in July in Oromia regional state following the murder of Oromo singer Hachalu Hundessa.
This is our culture, and our culture is independent of religion and politics. We are sad as a family and as a nation that Hachalu was killed. He shouldn't have died, but human beings are born and die. This government will also pass, but Irecha will outlive us all.
This year, only a few members of the Oromo community took part in the celebration after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government said it was restricting attendance to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. The Irecha festival, which marks the end of the rainy season and the beginning of the harvest season, is usually attended by hundreds of thousands of people. In neighboring South Sudan, the government, in collaboration with UNICEF on Monday, launched a campaign against child marriage to sensitize the public on the challenges girls face. 52% of girls in the country get married before the age of 18, and about 1/3 of all girls get pregnant before turning 15, which prevents them from enjoying their basic rights and lives. The objective of the new campaign, called Some Things Are Not Fit for Children, Marriage is one of them, is to highlight how child marriage damages the girl's education, development and future. South Sudan's Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Aya Benjamin Worile, called on the entire nation to help end child marriage in the country. In Western Africa, Mali's interim president Bandao on Monday appointed a new 25-strong transitional government with the military occupying key roles. The four main cabinet posts, like defense, security, territorial administration and national reconciliation, will all be headed by army colonels. The interim president has appointed Colonel Sadio Kamara as the defense minister, while Colonel Modibo Kone takes the security and civil protection portfolio. Junta spokesman Colonel Ismail Wage also takes the position as the national reconciliation minister. There are some few civilians who have also been appointed to steer the affairs of the country, such as former prosecutor Mohamed Sidadiko as justice minister and former ambassador Zeni Moulay as foreign affairs minister. The appointment of Mali's new interim government comes after the junta promised to relinquish control and stage fresh elections following the military coup of the 18th of August. On the education front, schools in Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau reopened on Monday after a 6-month hiatus due to COVID-19. Schools in both West African countries closed in March as part of the restrictions and measures to contain the spread of the pandemic. However, students resumed classes on Monday under strict coronavirus safety guidelines. As part of the safety measures employed by the various schools, the usual school assembly has been suspended to reduce the gathering of pupils. The authorities vowed to undertake visits to make sure that all schools are adhering to the coronavirus regulations. In Northern Africa, representatives of Libya's rival administrations on Monday attended a meeting in the coastal town of Bouznika in Morocco's Rabat region as the Libyan dialogue resumed.
In the first round of the Libyan dialogue last month, delegations from the House of Representatives and the state reached important agreements on the mechanisms for unifying sovereign institutions, and we insist on completing the work on the issue of standards as soon as possible.
أنتم الآن على وشك إنهاء.
You are now on the verge of finalizing and settling an important historical agreement on all the details of the implementation of Article 15, which is one of the main foundations of the unification of Libyan institutions. We hope that this agreement will be signed in the near future and that the agreements you have reached, which are very important, will be strengthened with regard to sovereign posts.
هذه الاتفاقات وهذه التفاهمات اللي وصلتوا لها واللي هي هامة جدا فيما يتعلق بكل.
Morocco's Foreign Minister Nasser Bourita hailed the Bouznika dialogue as a positive precedent that the two Libyan camps can build on to settle the crisis in their country. In Egypt, archaeologists on Saturday said that they had found tens of well-preserved and sealed wooden coffins over recent weeks that were buried more than 2,500 years ago.
We are announcing today that there are 59 coffins out of the shafts, plus an unknown number of coffins still in situ in the 3 shafts. So today is not the end of the discovery. I consider it's the beginning of the big discovery.
Most of the coffins are well protected and keeping their original color. These coffins belong to some priests and senior employers in the late era, which was nearly 600 BC, which means these coffins were sealed for more than 2,600 years. I attended the opening of one of them with Dr. Mustafa in the shaft. The mummy looks like it was mummified yesterday.
28 statues were found for the god بتاع سكر, wooden one, well painted, well colored, well decorated.
The statue of the god Nefertem, with the name of a person called Budi Amun engraved on it, is unique as we don't have any statue like that before. In addition to its bronze material, there aren't a lot of bronze statues for the god Nefertem, which makes it unique and rare.
The coffins will eventually go on display at the new Grand Egyptian Museum, which is currently under construction on the Giza Plateau on the outskirts of Cairo. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.